What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys and you ladies, this literally does not work. I am catching my breath for a minute. I got to go back to Home Depot and buy another sheet of plywood, and I need some more wiring. Like, I haven't gotten enough wiring done for the system. I'd actually like to take, I'm curious actually, now that I think about it, how many wires and cables I have hooked up to the system. I have this Alienware computer. And if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, you know, when they're in like the egg dish and they're generating electricity, they got all these cables and stuff hooked up to them. That's literally how my Alienware computer is. Because, you know, as Michael pointed out in my last live stream when the computer needed to be rebooted, he's like, you got a lot of shit hooked up to that, Dad. You got a lot. So I'm sitting there thinking and realizing there's 12 monitors hooked up to it. 12 monitors. There's 3 keyboards. Now, one of them is wireless. Two of them are wireless. There's 2 mixers, 2 stream decks, 12 monitors, a switching station, 10 cameras, I think. Some of those are wireless. But I'm wondering if I put all the wire together, how far it would stretch. I bet it'd be quite a bit. And another thing, I wonder how much money I've spent on wires. I mean, just the HDMI cables alone, shit. Anyway, I still need some more because I'm still getting ready, the set ready for the draft. So it's coming. It's coming. We're getting there. But Ian Rappaport, Captain Obvious here, at least in my mind, this is Captain Obvious, says that the Dallas Cowboys love Kyle Pitts. That's like saying the Dallas Cowboys or Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones like breathing. It goes without saying, Captain Obvious. Everybody knows that Jerry Jones is going gaga over Kyle Pitts. Okay, tell me something I don't know. Okay, how about that, Ian Rappaport? But he said, as much as they love Kyle Pitts, that they won't trade up for him. Is that breaking news? Here's the thing. I understand a lot of you guys. And this is one of those reasons why people think I'm an idiot too. Because here's the thing. I have my man Stuart Morrison. Stuart is going to help me do something that I hate to do. You know, there's certain things that you have to do in life that you really just don't like to do. If you're married, you understand. There's a lot of things, you know. There's those weddings that you have to go to with your wife and events and things like that. It's kind of like, I'd rather, you know, I have a fork in my eye than go to a wedding. My dad used to say, I went to one wedding, my own, and that was one too many. And I've kind of had that philosophy myself. But it's things you got to do. Doesn't matter what you want to do when you're married. It's what we want to do. So, fantasy football is one of those things I have to do. Those matrimonial type duties, so to speak. And Stuart Morrison, who does great things with fantasy football and knows the ins and outs of it, will be working with me with fantasy football. Now, here's the thing. Too many of you guys think fantasy football is real. So you're the same guys that say, oh, well, we should have traded Dez Bryant, and gotten ourselves a first-round draft pick. Those things are great, and there's a reason they call it fantasy football. Okay? Fantasy, which means it's not real. It's imaginary. It's not happening. Or maybe it could in the future, We used to think about watches that, we could talk on. Well, actually, we do have those now. But back when I was a kid, that was a fantasy. We didn't even have cell phones. So you didn't have cell phones. What do you think? You're going to have a cell watch? Come on. That was a fantasy then. It became a reality. But I digress. So many of you guys treat football like fantasy football. You'll go through, trade this guy, trade that guy, because you think, on a weekly basis, you're trading players and redoing your team over and over again. In reality, that doesn't work, because when you trade a player and bring a player in, they have to get used to playing with the people that you have. They have to get used to the terminology that you have. They have to get used to the scheme that you have. So unlike fantasy football, where you can trade a guy this week and plug him in this week, and all of a sudden he gets you 25 points, it doesn't work that way in real football. And that's where a lot of you guys look at fantasy statistics. And you say, well, if we just add him, we're going to win because we're going to put so many fantasy points up there. And that's, yeah. But it's different in a team sport. It's not that you can take the, Kyle Pitts points from over here, and then you can take, the Pat Mahomes points over there, and you can add these things up and have an infinitesimal amount of points. You had all those guys on one team. If you had all of your fantasy guys actually on one NFL team, guess what? They're not going to have the same numbers that they have outside of. You follow what I'm saying? There's only so many points to go around. And in fantasy football, you just take another team's defense, the whole defense, because you're not keeping the sorry defense that you may already have on your team. Again, fantasy football. And that's why so many of you guys get this fantasy mentality when it comes to trying to be realistic with football. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. You're going to say you're an idiot, but this is one of the reasons why so many of you think I hate Kyle Pitts. I don't hate Kyle Pitts, not at all. But the reality is, it's not fantasy football. The reality is teams that are winning Super Bowls, I don't know of any of them that have had a 29th rated defense. I just don't. And when our defense, as people say, got better, we still averaged giving up the same amount of points that Pat Mahomes in Kansas City did. Follow me? And yet again, another reason why so many of y'all hate me. Because I think fantasy football is ruining regular football. They are pretty, aren't they? Got a little bit cold the last couple of nights, kind of slowed them down a bit. But it's warming back up, so they seem content. Not a care in the world except, is the herring coming around? And when's dinner? I'm Mark Holmes, and well, let me get to the store, get some more materials, and get back to work. I'll see you later.